baby out with the bathwater, Jermichael Finley is a nice comeback in the 5th round. I think he is probably the 4th or 5th best tight end.
Moving on, that's going to be Rick Williams here, who did some wheeling dealing early.
Yep. He put all his chips in on a guy named Drew Brees, which I've done in the past. Nothing wrong with that. He is a good guy to have all your chips in on.
Right.
However, you do want to build some quality guys around him. And I think Ryan Grant is a nice, solid running back to complement an all-star like Drew Brees. But then he had a chance to really get another solid back there late in the 3rd round.
Dee Wells.
And he goes Matt Forte.
Right.
And you got to think, there's so many good running backs you pass on. If you do really want Matt Forte, because I know Rick's a Bears guy, let's get him in the 5th or 6th round, not the 3rd.
Right.
I mean, I think he kind of hurt himself a little bit with the trade, but he kind of still drafted okay. I'll give Rick a C+ on the draft grade.
Team with Drew Brees, a C+?
The team with Matt Forte is lucky to have a C+.
All right. The next one, that's going to be... Well, this one... This is Matthew Jones, who just joined the league earlier today.
Yeah, about 3 hours before the draft.
Right. So let's see how he put his team together.
No one in the past remained a complete wild card. This
Right.
guy, you never know what he's going to do. He was much more by the book today. So much by the book, he was almost kind of surprised when he got Brandon Marshall in the 3rd round. Brandon Marshall is 2nd in some magazines, and he just fell in his lap in the 3rd round. Michael Turner in the 1st round, great guy to build your team around. If you're stuck that late in the draft to get a good running back 1, great.
Right. You couldn't lose between Turner, Gore, and Steven Jackson at that point. He took one of the 3, and that's a good pick.
Yes, it is. However, all the stability that Turner gives you, he takes away with Ryan Matthews, a rookie that hypothetically is going to be the starter and hypothetically going to get 250 carries, but has proven nothing at the NFL level there.
Overall draft grade?
I think he was much more by the book this year. I would. I don't like that he doesn't have a quarterback. He was the last person to take a quarterback in a quarterback-heavy league. Thus, I can only give him a C+.
Moving on, we got Brandon Ingham, who had a good pick in the draft. What do we think about Brandon? He did some wheeling dealing. He did some crazy shenanigans. It seemed like he kind of just was a little bit off after some of the picks right before him.
It seemed like there were some picks that people weren't expecting before him, and maybe they got caught a little off guard. Not getting the guys they had planned on getting, and maybe didn't think on their toes as quickly as they should have.
Right.
But getting Frank Gore in the 1st round at the 10th pick is great value.
Yeah.
And then wrapping around, even though he really didn't get Sean Green in that 2nd round pick, he did get Sean Green there, which he hasn't proven much, but in the playoffs last year was a dynamite. And if you just look at that, those top 2 guys, that's 2 top 10 running backs right there.
Right. Let's go ahead and give him a grade, and then we'll talk about his best and worst.
If just based on his starting lineup, I would give him a B.
Moving on to the next one, that's Peter Garabedian.
Yep.
Who he got off to a good start when he took Manning.
You can't go wrong pairing up Manning and Wayne. Greg did it last year. He won a championship. Peter said, "I can't beat him. I'm going to copy him."
Right. Not to mention Peter was the runner-up last year.
Right. So. After that, he doesn't have any real proven running backs, but he took 3 guys with his next 3 picks, is what I like, and all he needs is 2 of them to emerge, and that's all you need is 2 running backs.
And not to mention, a few rounds later, he added Ahmad Bradshaw.
Which is a nice, solid guy. Could emerge as the starter with the Giants. Brent Selleck at tight end. You have to worry about McNabb leaving if that's going to affect him. I still think he's a top 10 tight end.
So let's go Peter's draft grade real quick.
I'm going to go B- for Peter. I just wish he had a top running back.
Moving on to our last guy. This one's going to be Jeremy McFarland, one of our 12th pick. So what did he do with the snake pick?
Jeremy went running back, which I don't think is what he wanted to do. I think he probably had a couple quarterbacks slotted there, and they just didn't fall to him. So he ended up getting stuck with Steven Jackson, which we've had worse problems in our lives.
Right.
Cedric Benson, perhaps not a guy he wanted because he's only had 1 year of proving himself after 4 years of being a bust in Chicago.
Right.
And then he a couple receivers that I'm not a big fan of, but the magazines say will be great.
Right. Well, I think he's got a lot of faith in Ocho Cinco actually being able to do something this year. So I think, overall, Steven Jackson, Benson, these are big yards guys, maybe not touchdown guys. What are you going to give this draft?
I'm going to give this draft a C+. I think he did the best. It can be really tough. 12 can be just as big a curse as 1.
Right. Fantasy. So, here we go. That's going to be a wrap. This is the Harberry's Dearman 2010 draft recap. I'm Chris Jones.
James Cabell. Let's have a good year. Get on the message board and talk.
Could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. I appreciate that.